Hi, it's good being back. This is Annie of Annie's Way. This is my this is my next podcast. There are at least 3 out there, and I'd appreciate it if you go back and see them all. The good part about this is that if you've missed me or if you remember something I said that you'd like to review, you can go back. But today, I'd like to talk about appearance and hygiene. This pandemic has been bad for us, but it also is a good thing. It's a good thing, it's a gift, it's a blessing, and I would like to believe that we're all stocking up on the things we need, especially for hygiene. Uh, Especially now that it's getting warmer, our young men and women, but I talk to the young men because I respect them as being the head of the couple. We expect our young men to step up and take over and be responsible. So I'm going to talk about some things that we as young men need to think about. Um, we need to have a positive attitude and self-confidence. We have to have self-worth because it doesn't matter what you do, you're worth a lot. If you have a job, the reason you have that job is because that job demands something or somebody with your skill. So we need to think about that. And also, we do have a hard time sometimes, but we need to know the balance between deference toward authority and personal dignity. In other words, when you meet an authoritative person like the police, the judge, or even your teacher, because you have to know what authority is. In your household, your parents are the ones in authority. If you're a child, any adults you should show respect for. In fact, you should respect your peers. But there are times when you might have to suck it up. Another word for sucking it up is restraining or restrain yourself. You might have to exercise restraint because there are some people who might be having a bad day and they want to pass that bad day on to you, and they might not even know it. And I found that when somebody comes to you with disrespect or bullying, if you remain calm and show respect for them, sometimes it'll cause them to draw attention to themselves. But back with the appearance and hygiene. As young men and women, we do sweat a lot. And we should take a bath every chance we get. But one thing I thought about that I need to tell you, when you do bathe, be sure that you pay special attention to those spots like underarm, those spots that are in the dark a lot. Pay a lot of attention to it, and never put cologne under your arm. Just don't do it. That good cologne can turn on you and cause you to smell. And also, when it comes down to deodorant, make sure that your deodorant is handy so that when you bathe, you can use your deodorant, rub it in, and then you're good to go. If you're used to using powder, be sure you do things like that after you've bathed. Do not ever think you can use that in lieu of a bath or a shower or wash up. And when you do wash up, know those parts that you need to pay close attention to. Okay? So we want to be sure that we know that we are somebody, we're important, and we want people to respect us, but we also want to be able to recognize when there are people who might take your respect away and not show you the respect that they should show you. I'm going to read a couple things that I came across that was furnished to me by my son. and it talks about skills to teach young men or boys. And it says, absorb all the positive reinforcement, self confidence, and self worth your young, impressionable mind can hold. In other words, uh, when somebody gives you a compliment, don't act like it's nothing. It is something, um, and you want to recognize your self worth, you know, and always deal with the positive. Try not to even remember those negative things that people say, because you know what? I had a saying that I said to my children when I worked, uh, and we would repeat it. You can say anything you want to say about me. You can call me what you want to call me, but I will not give you the power to make it true. In other words, if somebody called you a bad name and you let it ruin your day and have it eating you up, that person cannot make you what they call you. They really don't have anything to refer to. They're probably referencing themselves. They're probably thinking about themselves or somebody they know real well. Uh, I've been called the B word, and I've smiled and I said, you don't know me that well, and so it's not worth worrying about. In other words, feel sorry for a person that feels the need to put somebody down just so they could feel good. I'm going to phrase something that one of my ex-daughter-in-law said one time. Somebody took some gossip to her about one of her sister-in-laws, and she told him, why don't you just pray for her? In other words, when somebody's bringing a bone to you or want to talk about somebody, recommend that they pray for the person. And if you have enough time to talk to them, maybe you can encourage them to overcome the need or the idea of talking about somebody. So just be glad when somebody praise you and make it a part of you. Another thing says, distinguish between the rules that are in place to legitimacy protect you and the clever. Well, let me start over. Distinguish between the rules that are in place to legitimately protect you and the cleverly disguised limitation on your full potential and rights. In other words, there are rules, especially on your job, that are created to protect the company first. And it protects you because most of the time it's a rule to make sure that you don't get a chance to harm the company. But sometimes rules are made because they really want to impose on your person or your rights. And I used to have a thing, or I remember my daughter was saying one time that she would ask her boss, is that a rule or is that a Bianca's rule? And sometimes when you can talk to your boss, you can say that. But sometimes you need to figure out, is this a legitimate rule? Is this rule imposing on my rights? And if it continues and you can't get your organization to change, then you need to continue to be a good employee and continue to look for another job, because you never want to just walk away from a job. You don't want to make anybody make you leave your position, because your job represents you. That paycheck represents your car, your apartment, your home, your dress. It feeds your children. So we have to be careful about running away from a job because of something somebody said. Here's another one that says, know the balance between deference toward authority and personal dignity. Now, there are some rules that are made by authorities because they can and because they are the boss. And there are some rules that will strip you of your dignity if you're not careful. And once you recognize that these rules could be rules that infringe on your human rights. And that's why it's important to know certain terms. I'm glad that I work for equal opportunity. For a while, I was an equal opportunity specialist for the government. And I still remember a lot. And it pays to pick up books and read, because there are a lot of rules that people have in place that are really not legal. And you need to know, but you don't want to go in arguing or complaining. You need to do your research, so when you recognize that somebody's infringing on your rights, you can refer them to the law. Okay? And if they're not breaking the law and you're still unhappy, again, you need to prepare yourself for another job. It says, use your experiences with marginalization, disrespect, and disregard to help you recognize and empathize with others facing similar struggles. In doing this, you will find allies and build bridges. In other words, if you get along with people well and you know they're going through the same struggle, you can help yourself and them too. Again, it's been wonderful being here with you. I hope you tell everybody about my podcast. And I'm going to end this for today, but I will be back. And there are several podcasts out there that has been created with me. And thanks for listening. And I'll see you the next time.